My name is Lou Wilson. I've been Bawa's printer since 1975 in Philadelphia at the Fellowship Press. In this video, I will try to attempt to explain, from a production point of view, the Asmal Husna. I first heard about the Asmal Husna sitting in the backyard with Bawa in 1979. Someone came up to Bawa and showed him a book. It was by Ira Friedlander called The 99 Names of Allah, or God. Bawa looked at it and said, "We can do this." So within 1 year, we have produced the book. And since then, we've done 3 distinct versions and about 10 different reprints. The contents inside have remained the same, but the size and outer design have changed. So much work is done before it ever gets to the computer, proofreading, editing, translating. But here in this video, I'm starting with the design on the printer, or on the computer. First we make a dummy, because the way the book is printed and put together, it's put together in signatures. So each signature has 8 pages, and then each larger signature is 8 pages inserted, 3 of those inserted inside of each other. So it gets sort of confusing. So you really have to have a dummy to make sense of the whole thing. I get the original printout from the computer, and then it's taken into the darkroom for photographing. So this room is basically pretty dark, but the camera's picking up red lights that are there to protect the film. These are all the flats to make one book. This is the image assembly of one flat. It's speeded up. This process takes about 15 or 20 minutes. So I look at the dummy and then I mark up the pages to where the pages are supposed to go. I don't usually work this fast. And then there's little white specks that appear, broken letters that I have to fix. If there's a white speck, then it produces a black speck when it's printed. So you have to go through with a magnifying glass and fix everything. And then I take the negatives and we expose them to blue line Dilox paper, and that produces a proof, produces an image on a piece of paper. This is just one image, it's folded up, and then at the end we look to see that everything's in the right order. So these are the 3 signatures. 3 are inserted inside of each other. This particular book has 11 24-page signatures. So we produce 11 of these, and then we got one book. So I'm just stapling them to hold them together so I can trim them to check the edges. These books usually aren't stapled. This cutter looks dangerous, but it's really not. You have to have your fingers on the buttons or else the blade just goes back up. But it is called a guillotine cutter. So I keep the blue lines in darkness because if they're exposed to light for any length of time, they'll turn blue. So the final check of the blue lines, they go to someone and they're checked and then sent back to me, and I go through and correct anything that's not right. And then once it's all checked, then it goes to plates. The plates are exposed the same way as the blue line, except they're exposed for a longer period of time, and it takes chemicals to process them. This is exposed for about 1 minute 45 seconds. So I have to write on the plate to make sure to keep track of what plate it is. Then it goes through a processor which removes everything that was not exposed with the negative. So it's pulling off all the chemicals except it's like an etching process. This is Bawa in the print shop, and back in the late 70s. He came over to look at the printing press. So now the plate is put on the press. An offset press works with water and ink. So water doesn't mix with ink, it repels each other. So the ink is attracted to the image area and the water is attracted to the areas that don't have any image. So through a balance of water and ink, the printing takes place. It's printed to a rubber blanket, and then the rubber blanket is transferred to a paper. So this is the feeder section of the press. It's loaded up. Holds about 5,000 sheets of paper. And this ink is put in. This particular ink is from Holland. It's like thick tar. And then a chemical concoction is mixed, which serves as a fountain solution. And that's pumped into the fountain unit, and in the process of printing, the ink and water units balance each other off. So this particular press has something called a stream feeder on it. So the paper comes out overlapping over top of each other and then speeds up when it starts going. So these are printed one side, so I have to go back and print the other side. These are what's going on underneath the covers, which you don't usually see. This is like a symphony of machinery, I guess you call it. So once everything is printed, print one side, then print the other side, then it goes into the folding machine. So now we're folding it the same way as the little dummies are. We're folding it into 8-page signatures, which will be collated by hand into 24-page signatures. Then the 24-page signatures 11 of them will be collated into a book. So Bawa told me this was my zikr. Every sheet of paper that goes through the machine is my remembrance of God. So this is actually prayer. And anybody who comes and works, it's prayer for them also. So this is a buckle folder. It shoots down and changes direction and fires out the left to the right side or left side. This is a counter, it's counting the paper. And then you have to keep track of everything. Each box has to be numbered, because there's about 65,000 sheets of paper, so you got to keep track of everything. So this is a collating. So we're inserting, making 24-page signatures. Bawa created the Fellowship Press in 1973. In his words, he wanted his children to work on the books. In that way, their good qualities would go into the books. And then when someone bought the books or received them as a gift, they would read them, and the good qualities would come back out of the book into them. Now, if anybody's worked in a commercial print shop, you know that they're a factory, you know that the good qualities are hard to come by there. From there, once it's collated, it goes to the sewing machine. So the sewing machine it's from the 1940s, and it works very good. Bawa liked this process because the books open and they lay flat more than a glued book, and they last a lot longer. Anybody who went to school back in the 1950s or 60s will remember sewn books, because you can see the thread inside of them. This is actually called a Smythe sewer. Of course, the company is out of business, and you can still get parts for it. So then when it comes off of this sewing machine, it's you just have to pull them apart. Each book is set so that, and then they're put into a nipper, or it compresses the air out of them, because from here they're going to go to a binder. This machine we had handmade. The guy made it from scratch. So these are the proofs. This is the way the cover's being printed. The first two colors were blue and, no, they weren't blue. Skip that. First two colors, and then the second two colors created four colors. These are the plates. It takes 4 plates to produce 4 colors, or full color. And it's not an automatic process. You have to go through and adjust each of these keys. And it's trial and error, and it's not automatic. It's not a Xerox machine. So these are the first 2 colors coming off. And they have to be registered perfectly within a hair's breadth. Because if it isn't, the next 2 colors that go down, you'll end up looking like the front of TV Guide or, some blurred images where the color will be off. So this is magenta and cyan. That's what the colors are called in the ink world. And then the next one will be yellow and black. So then after it's printed, we send out for lamination. That's the only thing we don't do. We don't laminate anything. Then the book is trimmed, and it's getting ready for the binder. So the scoring is very important. We have a machine that puts ridges down, so when it's folded, it's the width of the book when it goes into the binder. So this is important. Pushing the air out of the book was important because you had to get it to fit into this cover. So this is the binder. I'm just cleaning out the old glue, and then I put in some new glue, and the cover's off. You usually don't see this. And it usually runs up to 225 degrees when it's ready to be bound, for our book to be bound. So the covers are all on. It's running. It took a bit of setup beforehand to do this, to get it right, but we're ready to go now. So this is the first book. Second book, excuse me. So the first book will go up to Bawa's bed. This almost took out the camera, this shot. Come within a 1/16 of an inch of tearing the lens off the camera. So these are all bound, ready for trimming. Sometimes when I used to have problems with printing machines, I used to tell the translator, and 2 times Bawa came over, and he analyzed the problem, and I did what he said, and he fixed it. Once a mechanic couldn't figure out what was wrong, so the mechanic ended up in Bawa's room, and Bawa told him what was wrong with the press. And the mechanic did what Bawa said, and the press ran. This is a panorama of the print shop. It's a printing, then it goes into the bindery. This is Bawa sitting in the print shop. This is a very early, like 1950s of Bawa. This is Bawa actually selling from his bed. It's children's books. Thank you very much.